President Trump is preparing to send the National Guard into Chicago, a move that could change daily life in the city and raise serious questions about federal power, local authority, and how communities react when soldiers appear on their streets. You're watching The Price of the State, the channel where we break down major political and social events, asking what they mean for ordinary people and the future of our society. In today's video, we'll look at what this plan really involves, why it's happening, how local leaders and residents are likely to respond, and whether it will bring peace or spark new unrest in the streets of Chicago. Chicago has always been more than just a city. It's a symbol. For decades, politicians across the spectrum have used Chicago as an example when debating crime, inequality, and now immigration. But here's the paradox. Crime in Chicago has actually been falling. Homicides are down by more than 30% compared to last year, and shootings have dropped nearly 40%. So if the statistics show improvement, why target Chicago? Is it about safety, or is it about politics and optics, with Chicago chosen as a stage for a larger national message? What's being proposed? The plan being developed involves sending up to 1,700 National Guard members from 19 different states into Chicago as early as September 2025. The stated purpose: fight violent crime, address homelessness, and deal with illegal immigration. But here's the question: what happens when armed troops patrol neighborhoods that already have local police forces? Will residents feel safer seeing soldiers in uniform? Or will the sight of military vehicles and camouflage create tension and fear? Local leadership's response, Governor J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson, are clear. They did not request this deployment, and they do not want it. So, whose authority matters more? The local leaders who represent the city and state, or the president who claims to act in the interest of national security? And what happens when these two powers collide, not in a courtroom, but in the streets of a city of nearly 3 million people? Legal questions. Legally, this plan raises serious concerns. Normally, the National Guard can only be deployed if the governor asks for it. The president does have certain emergency powers, but is Chicago really in such a state of crisis that it justifies this? And then, there's the Posse Comitatus Act, a law that limits the use of the military for domestic law enforcement. Would this deployment cross that line? If lawsuits are filed, will courts step in to stop the Guard from being deployed? Or will the federal government push forward, forcing judges to decide where the line truly is? Possible reactions on the streets. Now let's imagine the first day soldiers arrive. Some residents may welcome them, hoping for more safety. Others may feel provoked. Will people cooperate calmly, or will protests erupt? Could we see peaceful marches or angry crowds confronting armed soldiers? And here's the haunting possibility. Will the Guard's presence prevent violence, or could it actually trigger the very images everyone fears? Burning cars on Michigan Avenue, broken shop windows on State Street, chaos spreading across neighborhoods. Historical parallels. This wouldn't be the first time. In 1992, National Guard troops entered Los Angeles during riots after the Rodney King verdict. In 2020, federal agents clashed with protesters in Portland. And in Washington, D.C., Guard forces have been deployed for crowd control multiple times. Each of these moments left powerful images in American history: armored vehicles on familiar streets, citizens facing soldiers in their own neighborhoods. So will Chicago become the next chapter, or have we learned lessons from the past that can prevent escalation this time? Impact on communities. Think for a moment about the everyday people of Chicago. Families walking their children to school, small businesses fighting to survive, immigrant neighborhoods already anxious about enforcement. How will they react when helicopters hover above, or when military trucks roll past their local grocery store? Will soldiers be seen as protectors, or as a sign that the government doesn't trust the city to manage its own affairs? Politics behind the move. Supporters of the president will say this is leadership in action. Opponents will say it's political theater, but maybe the real issue goes beyond Democrats and Republicans. Maybe the real question is this: should the federal government have the power to step into a city without its consent? If it can happen in Chicago today, could it happen in New York, Los Angeles, or any other city tomorrow? What happens next right now? The plan is still being finalized. September has been floated as a start date, but lawsuits are almost certain. Political resistance is guaranteed. Will this deployment actually take place? Or will it collapse under the weight of opposition from courts, communities, and city leaders? Conclusion? To sum it up, the White House is preparing to send the National Guard to Chicago. Local leaders strongly oppose it. The legal path is uncertain, and the people of Chicago may soon face a reality they never asked for. So here's the question: will this move bring safety and order to the streets? Or could it ignite protests, unrest, and even scenes of destruction in the heart of the city? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the whole country and the whole world will be watching. You've been watching The Price of the State. Don't forget to subscribe for more analysis on the decisions shaping our future.